Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this March 17th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. Boom. How are you, man?
First Friday.
First Friday. That's right. I always mean to say that. This is the first Friday, March 17th edition.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day don't mean anything to me anymore. I don't drink.
Do you have green on anywhere? Well, that we could see.
I don't have any. I don't think I have any on my clothes.
I don't think I have a speck.
I think that's green. Or is that gray?
I don't know.
You're gonna get a Doddsy mini rant today. Are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
You posted those pictures of the stairs yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm no economist. I'm no contractor. I don't work for the state. I don't work, and no offense to anybody, but common sense, like to me, common sense would mean that there's money, that money is allocated for stuff like that, not for potholes or for addiction or for, you know what I mean? So it's like, come on, man. Like, why are you waiting? I don't understand.
Yeah. For people who don't know what we're talking about, yesterday I drove by the grand staircase of EOU, which is kind of in a hidden spot. A lot of people probably don't even know where that's at. And the state has allocated some money for that. And I took some pictures of them and posted them last night. Was playing with it and posted them. And yeah, it was funny. But we're going to get the same questions, those same kind of questions, because here in just a little bit, we have George Mendoza and Suzy Maye. And the question is all the time is like, well, you know, why are you raising money for this when, you know, we need it? We have this other need in the school or whatever the case might be. And what people don't get is that, yeah, money is that it comes in particular buckets and can only be used for that thing.
Yeah. And most of the comments, no offense to anybody by any means, most of the comments that I see that are asking these questions are young people and people that didn't grow up here. Yeah, and I know some of the people, most of the people that have commented. And here's the thing: those stairs are important to the people that grew up here. They're important to the people that went to EOU in the 80s and the 90s, in the 70s, in the 60s. It's not the same. You know what I mean? I grew up on 8th Street. I lived there till I was 15 years old. And one block away is those stairs. We played kick the can on those stairs. Those stairs are a very important part of this community.
What, and is that it's at 9th and L, I think. Is that right? 9th and L Avenue in La Grande. And I mean, I get, you know, I get the pushback. It was funny because I fully expected people to say, oh, cool pictures. Oh, you know, because that's kind of what I was, for me, the sunlight was just beautiful. And that's kind of what I was trying to capture. And yeah, but all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it's all about the money that was going to be spent on the stairs and so on and so forth.
And like I said, I'm no professional when it comes to it, but the way I understand it is state money is in like these pools, these containers, right? You can't take money from this container and put it over here in this container to fix this stuff.
Yeah. And I would say for people, I mean, the potholes in the city is everyone's disdain, including like Kyle Carpenter, who is responsible ultimately for filling the potholes. You know, is that what people don't know is that it's incredibly expensive to repair streets and that type of thing. And so then the city of La Grande goes after federal money or money to help that do kind of stuff. And there's just not enough money to go around. So it's on a plan, you know. So anyhow,
hey, it's like driving through landmines going from my house to my mom's house, though. Like going back there by Rivers or by Pioneer Park on those side roads. You're like dodging landmines. Like I'm surprised I haven't been pulled over for swerving because I'm.
Hey, good morning, Dana. Glad you're here, man.
Dana's here.
Yeah.
A message about something. I don't know. Union Golf Course aims to raise the bar.
Yeah.
I don't have time to look at it now. I'll look at it later, Dana.
So, yep.
He just got back from Bandon. They golfed at Bandon for a week.
Oh, that's awful.
That's windy this time of year, I would imagine.
Isn't? Well, that wasn't a bad rant.
No. It's just I wish people would like seek to understand before they seek to be understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all can bitch about everything that we want all day. But if we don't if we haven't like dug in and tried to understand it, and I don't even understand it, I'm just saying I'm pretty sure that they can't take money that's been put towards a certain, beautification of, or upkeep of I think they designated it like a historical landmark, right? So you can't take historical landmark money and put it towards addiction. I mean, I wish you could, but I'm pretty sure you can't.
Right. And spending money on that does not mean that we're not recognizing the needs that in our community in other areas. It's just, it's just like, the people who have been trying to restore the staircase literally have been working on it for, I think Tim Seidel told me 20 years or something like that. And so this has been a very long-term project. Anyhow.
Rant over.
Yeah. I could go on, but we got guests.
Bored before we get to weather real fast. If you guys are bored, go check out the Union High School seniors, the state championship basketball interview. It was a good one.
It was
my own horn, but it was a pretty good one.
Yeah. And again, gives people context. They might not even know what it is you're talking about.
Well, I said the Union High School seniors from the state championship girls basketball team. It's right here on EOA Live. You scroll down. You can go on the Roku channel and catch it there. You can go to our website. You can go on the app. You can go to YouTube.
But the Union High School has never won a state championship ever in anything. Is that I think that came out in your interview.
Ever in girls basketball.
In girls basketball. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Got it.
And their coach is an All-American from EOU. She was an All-American at EOU. It's just cool. It's cool. I was there for one game this year, and it was the fundraiser night for Jill McCraw. Joel's one of my really good friends, so I went out there to support them. And man, that small town basketball, it's crazy. That whole town was there, man. It's different, I tell you.
Yeah.
It's different.
They're into it. All right. Well, I had frost on the windows this morning. It's like, I know, crazy.
I'm not a fan of scraping frost off in shorts.
But you're like, yeah.
I'm just not a fan.
I'm really interested to know, when spring does come, if you're going to find something else to complain about other than the cold.
Probably. I'll be complaining about not being able to go golfing.
That's it.
I don't know what I'll complain about.
All right. Well, here, let's check out what Gabe has to say.
Heading today on Thursday, well, it's tap out into the 50s across the board, an exception for Baker City, cooler into the upper 40s. Those clouds will start to increase throughout the day as we see a weak system rolling through, giving some scattered showers to the northern part of our region, getting into the evening hours and especially the overnight hours. Otherwise, down south should stay mainly dry. Heading into the day on Thursday for the Grande, it does look like this. A mix of clouds and sun in the morning that quickly thickens up throughout the day as we see conditions turning more gloomy. High temperature into the lower 50s. Southerly winds will be gusting up to 30 miles per hour in spots. First chance to see an isolated sprinkle about the 6 o'clock hour. That starts to increase. Heading into near sunset and especially after sunset into the overnight hours, but light showers will be the story, not tracking anything necessarily widespread. Heading into the short-term forecast for the Grand Ronde Valley, tracking high of 50 degrees for Thursday. We'll drop into the mid-30s overnight. Drying conditions before sunrise on Friday as we see a mix of clouds with a little bit of sun, with temperatures topping out into the mid-50s.
Hey, he has his own fan club. He does.
I know
he does. He's got a bunch of people that he's got a fan club, man. He does.
It's funny, 10 years from now, when he's on some big major station, I'm going to send one of those clips to his producer and have them stick that in the newscast. I think it'll be very funny. So,
good morning, Bud. What's up, Bud? How are you? Yeah, Dana, you're right. I mean, even for like if he was competing against like people in the field, he's good. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And just to put an exclamation on that, nobody does the weather here locally.
Nobody
like that. Yeah,
he's the only one that forecasts the weather like that. I mean, you have dude at the radio like, it's going to be 70 degrees and sunny, and look at he just reads that off of a widget.
Yeah,
does his own forecast.
Well, hey, let's in just a minute we're gonna have we're gonna have George Mendoza and Suzy Maye here with us to talk about the school bond that is coming up, and we really invite your questions and comments. Give them an opportunity to answer those. We'll be back in just a minute. Hey, everybody. Glad you're back. Glad we're back with you. So George Mendoza, the Grande superintendent, is with us. And Suzy Maye is a retired educator. I think her last thing was you were the principal at Central Elementary. And George is doing the superintendent thing where he's giving us information about the bond, but he cannot tell you necessarily how to vote. He cannot promote that in his position. Suzy Maye is a part of the steering committee and the PAC, the political action committee that is promoting the bond. And her place here is to tell you why it is that you should vote for that. So thank you guys for being here with us today.
Good morning, Brent. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St.
You're all dressed up and ready to rock for it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that all the luck is with me today. I've never talked live before, so this is a new experience.
Well, you've spent lots of time talking live, just not necessarily on on this kind of a platform. Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, and in full disclosure, you know, the political action committee is paying to be a part of this show this morning so that you guys understand our perspective or our position here. So we're glad to have you with us. And George, we started this conversation before, I think it was before the board had actually approved to put the bond forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and now that was proposed to them. The board has pushed the bond forward. Now it's on the ballot. And is it the middle of May? When is I mean, people get their ballots around the middle of April and they're due in by the middle of May. Is that kind of it?
Correct. May 17th.
Okay.
Election night.
Okay. So tell us for people who might not know, and again, just to invite folks, this is an opportunity for you to ask questions. George and Suzy can give you any information that you might need. And so, George, kind of give us an overview. Tell us what this is and how we got here. Yeah.
So I'll get to kind of the beginning, and the reality is, I'd say my first year in the school district, so 2017, we had a significant leak that took place at the annex. Actually, it was multiple leaks, and the conversation for us was doing the repairs for the roof. And we were at a place where we were thinking about putting in about $120,000, $140,000 to completely repair the roof and put in new tiles, all those kinds of things. And at that time, our board basically indicated, do we want to keep putting in significant amounts of money into our annex? At that time, the annex was about 93 years old, 94 years old. Now it's 98 years old. And that said into course, basically, do we want long-term solutions or do we want short-term solutions? Do we want to just do small things with the annex or try to resolve it as a long-term problem for our school district? So that was at a time also where, the 2014 bond had passed and lots of work had taken place for our school district, lots of improvement throughout, new central, new gymnasium, new CTE building, new auditorium, classrooms at Island City, classrooms at Greenwood, lots of great things for our school district. And we had been also in that place of what can we create, what can we do? Well, not much took place with the annex during that time. We did patch the roof and we did some short-term solutions for that location, but we then started to think about what can we do for the long term. In 2019, we were able to refinance our bond debt. That was that $32 million bond that passed. It was at about a 4.69 interest rate. We reduced it to a 4.75 interest rate, sorry. We reduced it to a 1.69 interest rate. Really, we cut off $2.3 million. And then we were also able to then reduce, now in October of 2022, reduce the bond rate that the bond levy rate at $1.93 average down to $1.65. And really the ask became, how do we get that 28 cents, that 28 cents, and then what could that be on a 13-year term? And that's that 4.845 million. And then we received an awesome grant, which is a facilities bond matching grant for $4 million, and that became the 8.845 million. And then it just became, how do we maintain tax rates, not increase any bond terms as well, and then be able to resolve a long-term problem, which is the maintenance building and the annex. There was a facility study committee. They spent 8 months together working on all the needs. They do a facility index study and they look at the foundation, the structure, the roof, the electrical, the plumbing, the wire, all these kinds of things that they look at. And in the end, it really became the annex is 98 years old. The maintenance building is 111 years old. Honestly, Willow is over 100 years old. We have 5 buildings that are over 75 years old in our school district. And the primary focus became, we should replace the annex and we should replace the maintenance building. So we should relocate folks into a different location, and then we should look to create a multi-use athletic academic center. That's kind of the story of what took place.
Good. And for those that might not know, the annex, what we're talking about is the athletic facility at the Grande Middle School, which is on 4th Street. Yeah. Right? Okay.
And that building, many people don't realize that building actually is being used on a daily basis. Our students are learning in that building. And I also want to say that I totally respect the fact that these buildings have served multiple generations of families in our community. And just like we were talking earlier, where the stairs at EOU are important, so are these buildings, and they deserve the respect for all of the years that they have served our children. But they are no longer safe and they are not ADA accessible. And so it's time to allow them to retire. I've been through this before with Central, with tearing down the old Central, and it was sad. And I acknowledge that. And it was really sad for a lot of people who grew up in those schools. So I just want our community to know that we don't take those kind of things lightly, and we do know that this is hard, but it's what's best for our community and our students and for future generations to come. Hopefully these buildings can serve our schools for another 100 years. So that's why it's important to vote yes for this bond.
Wait, so there's actually kids taking classes in the annex?
Exactly.
Every day.
Every day.
I think I saw a video.
We still use the annex.
Yeah, I think I saw a video that ESD put together for you guys, and there's kids playing badminton in there, right?
Yeah. That's so we have PE classes every day. You know, anywhere from 30 to 40 students at a time once in a while, taking PE times 7 periods or at least 6 periods. So
yes, and we have events in there as well. And it's sad when our students' grandparents come to watch their events and they actually can't because of the stairs, and it's not ADA accessible. So this is an opportunity for us to provide a building that will not only host athletics, provide more spaces for our locations for clubs and organizations in our community, but also STEM classes, health classes, to better educate our children.
Doddsy, real quick, what I understood too is, you know, when that $32 million bond passed, there was a lot of things on the table. The potential to replace the annex, the potential to even do more at Greenwood and replace Greenwood. But the amount of funding became too much of an ask, where folks really wanted to be at it below $1.99. And so that's what, you know, all the work that took place was meant to be strategic and target the highest needs areas. And be at that dollar, you know, be below $1.99. It actually became $1.93. But folks knew at the time that, you know, replacing the annex was a big deal back then. It's just the amount of funding for that. And I'll just say this, that, you know, once that bond passed, we did increase enrollment. We increased enrollment by about 200 students in that time. We were able to replace the track because of this increased enrollment. That wasn't bond funds. Able to replace our tennis courts, able to fix HVAC systems in all of our school district, able to even do more with our safety security systems as well, able to invest into EOU field turf for community stadium for our portion of it, able to put in field turf for baseball and softball, lots of great things, able to put in new modulars and fix a whole bunch of things in our school district throughout, recarpet, replace different things, seismic, replace roofs, seismic grants as well. We really were able to get about $11 million more in funding to do things in addition to what the bond did. So we've been trying to make things better throughout. That $32 million actually has created about $47 million worth of work. And even now, if we do this kind of refinance that we're doing and asking for really the gap amount that we were able to create a savings towards, and really not increase any taxes, not increase any bond terms as well. That's another almost $9 million, $8.845 million. So that $32 million has almost created an extra $20 million, if, you know, potentially, of good work, great things, cool things for kids, and positioning basically the district better, students better, families better, and our community better.
I don't think, you know, I mean, anybody who has ever been in that facility or is aware of the facility, I don't think they struggle to understand the need for it to be improved. I mean,
I would hope not.
Yeah, I don't think that's the sell here, you know. And briefly before I finish that question, George, the $1.93 that you're talking about is $1.93. Explain how that comes. You know, if I have a $200,000 home, how does that $1.93 apply to the amount of that I'm taxed for my home?
Great question. So $1.93 at 1,000, if you multiply that by 100,000, $1.93 is really $193 that is paid per 100,000. Or if you did, you know, $200,000 home, that would be $193 times 2. So
right.
Basically $386 for $200,000. And so that's what helps to pay for the bond. And it was a 20-year bond levy. So it's a 20-year repayment. In 2014, it was passed. 2017 is when it started getting paid, or 2015 is when it started getting paid. And then we're in year 7 now of repayment. Next year, we'll start year 8 of repayment. Okay. And so that's why there's 13 years left when we say there's 13 years left. And then if this new bond was done, it's aligned to the same amount of terms. It's a 13-year bond as well. It's going to not increase any. It's not like this new amount of years and extending the bond by 20 years or expending the bond by 13 years. It's just aligned to the existing bond, and that $1.93 stays $1.93. If folks did a forego of the tax decrease because of the refinance, they would experience basically $1.93 to get to $1.65, and that's that 28 cents difference. Now, again, if folks were to vote no, because we get asked that a lot, or folks were to just not support it, you would experience savings of about 28 cents per thousand, or $28 per 100,000, or $56 for 200,000, or $84 for 300,000. And that savings, it might feel like it's a lot, but it's a minimal amount. We'll still pay $1.65 per thousand on the past bond, so you'll still pay $165 for a $100,000 home. You're not going to, I'll just say, experience a significant savings. You'll experience some savings, but in the end, the 4.845 plus the $4 million from the grant really does so much good for students, and it helps out the community also for multi-use activities. If they want to have galas or events or conferences or different things, that location can be used for that. Helps with parks and city recs and having activities for park and city recs. There's not enough gym space as it is. Folks usually ask, and we wind up saying, like, we don't have the space right now. If you want to come in, you can come in at 8 o'clock. And most people don't want to come in at 8 o'clock. And so this does alleviate some concerns for that. And it really does have kids doing good activities, healthy activities, with great adults supporting them.
Yes. So for our community to be willing to just keep everything status quo, continue the paying for the next 13 years at $1.93 rate, we receive almost $9 million to build better schools for a better tomorrow. So another reason to vote yes on this bond.
Suzy's doing her job. That's good. So a little bit more of a basic question where I was going before, and that is, and I know, George, so explain to me, because this is the question. So, I mean, there's probably a certain segment of people that they were not in favor of the bond back in 2014. They're not in favor of bonds at all, because they feel like, yeah, hey, you guys get enough money, teachers get paid. Why can't you pay for the facilities needs out of the money that you already have? Really basic question, but
I love that question, but it really is. So state school fund is from student enrollment, and you do use the state school fund to support student learning. So every program, every activity typically comes from the state school fund, and that's what pays for staffing, that's what pays for benefits, that's what pays for programs and services. And a great school district can save some of its money and they do use that. Like in our school district, we have a 5-year maintenance plan, and then we have high cost capital projects. And overall, we've tried to save around $750,000 a year to do high cost capital projects and 5-year maintenance plan. The rest honestly goes towards, you got to pay staff, you got to pay for programs and services, you got to do sports, you got to run day-to-day operations, and that's where the money goes. It goes towards those kinds of things. The reality of any district thinking that, you know, because we have, just like at your house or just in like in other places that have properties, we have things break down. As anything ages, it needs to be repaired. We have plumbing issues, we have roof issues, we have wire issues, we have all kinds of things that fall apart and need to be repaired, and our funds go to repairing those things. We replace concrete, we replace sidewalks, we replace windows, we replace doors, we do all kinds of things throughout. So our money gets spent quite a bit on day-to-day things. And for any district to be able to save just on a state school fund, here's $1 million we saved, here's another $1 million we saved, here's another $1 million we saved. Imagine you saving $30 million in 30 years. That's a pretty special school district that can do that. And by that time, you know, maybe you could replace one building that's a $30 million building. But if you have multiple buildings, it just takes so much money to make everything work. And the reality is bonds are for buildings. So when you do bonds, they're not state school fund. They're not allocated to student enrollment. It's a separate pot of funds, and it really is to fix buildings or create new buildings and support your infrastructure for the future.
Good. So, man, I had a question and like just kind of escaped me.
So I got a question for you. So if we look at the people that don't, that would be potential no votes, what's their biggest argument?
I really think that when I talk to folks, it's usually the refinance of it all and how explaining how it really is that we're just not increasing any taxes, or we're just maintaining tax rate and tax terms. Folks fundamentally also kind of what Brent was getting at. There's times that people think like it's a bond and it means taxes, and I'm a no, because I was, you know, my needs are met right now, and I'm on a fixed income, and I really don't want to pay much more than what I'm already paying. And the government, I don't trust the government, or they're spending frivolously, or they just do things that I'm not interested in. And I mean, there's a lot of that kind of thinking. But it's really like when folks aren't sure of it, it's really like, so how are you making it? How are you saying that you can maintain tax rates? Or how are you saying that you can stay with the same tax terms? You're asking for more money. But when you start to explain the refinance, and that the refinance created this 4.75 to $1.69, or not a dollar, at 1.69 interest rate, and how that created that 28 cents gap. And really, we're just asking for that 28 cents over 13 years to create that 4.845. And it really would be maintaining, like, but you're basically forgoing a decrease in taxes. But the reality is that decrease is not a significant decrease. You'll still pay quite a bit on the existing bond. And that 8.845 million, it really does address 2 100-year-old buildings that need to be replaced. And it does really position the district better for a new location for maintenance, grounds, and facilities, so that they can do important work in a more upgraded facility as well.
And I understand the no, and from the standpoint of, I mean, living in the state of Oregon, we don't have sales tax, so that has to be made up in some manner, and that's made up in the property tax that people pay, and that is not a small amount of money to dig out of your pocket if you own a home every year. I mean, and so then, you know, if you have a $2,000 or $3,000 bill that you're having to pay 3 installments of, or you have, I mean, very few people just have a chunk of change like that. They're going to pay their property tax all in one thing. And so, and then if on top of that, it's like, I mean, so they're already frustrated and angry that they have to pay that property tax. And then on top of that, it's like, what? you're going to increase my yearly property tax by $200 or $300 or whatever it might be, you know, yeah, that's a pretty hard sell. And I get that. So I sympathize with that. But the other hand is yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier about the staircase and the people that had kind of centered in on particular topics and so on and so forth. And what I find is that people really struggle to think outside of their own situation, their own belief. They struggle to think outside of what it is that they're experiencing. And somebody who's retired, who is on a fixed income, no, they're not going to want to pay more property tax. And it might be easy for them to think, well, my kids are, schools being better doesn't affect me in any manner. My grandkids live somewhere else, you know, and it's just, and I'm not saying that's how they think, but it's just, it's really difficult for people to think outside of their own needs. And this is one of those things.
You know, you just said something that just triggered some thoughts for me in sense of like I'm expected to take care of our school district, and I am expected to take care of our school district in the present, but I'm also expected to have vision for the future, whether it's vision for 3 years or vision for 5 years or just vision in general for our facilities and making sure that we have good facilities for the future. And I'd say again, for most of us, I know it costs money, but probably, you know, one of the #1 investments that anybody can make is an investment in education or an investment in kids, if you want to even put it that way. Kids are our future. Kids are our future workforce. Kids are our future citizens that help to make decisions. Kids are our future economy as well, and how that economy creates opportunities for others, and then also repairs roads or repairs buildings or runs businesses. We have an obligation. I tell folks these kinds of things once in a while. We have an obligation to invest in education because that's an investment in our future. We have an obligation for a healthy community to invest in a medical system because that makes us a healthy community. We have an obligation to invest in safety, in public safety, because that makes us a better community. And then we have an obligation to have good businesses because that creates a good economy. All these things position us better for our future. And then when we don't do that, it doesn't create a better life for a child. It doesn't create a better future for our economy. It doesn't do the things that we would want. And so for me right now, we've done things in a way where we could position it where it really isn't, it's just going to maintain what we've already been doing. And it's going to create so much good. And folks, back to Doddsy, so folks have told me before, hey man, we're not happy about these mandates, or we're not happy about you guys requiring masks, or you guys, you know, with teachers and vaccine requirements or other requirements that the state did, and where you guys were. And it's like, well, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I want kids in our school. I want to take care of kids. My whole, you know, purpose, passion, existence is to make things better in our school district, or to make things better in our community, to take care of our children. All I ever want is to do those kinds of things, but I do have to follow state laws and state rules. I've always had to follow state laws and state rules. We get in a lot of trouble when we don't. But the reality is, if folks are saying, hey, I'm doing this because I'm mad about that, you know, we didn't take care of our kids. Well, this right here, this doesn't take care of our kids. If we don't do things that invest in their future, I don't see how that makes it better for kids. These are the things that are necessary to make it better for our future, for our students, our families, our community, and our school district.
Well, and you know, Brent, both my husband and I both are retired. We live on a fixed income, but to me, so of course, as soon as we heard a bond levy, we immediately thought, okay, our taxes are going to go up. They're already really high. I hope we can do this. And because both of us are educators, we both are very passionate about children. But this is a no-brainer. You know, as soon as I did the research and started looking into it, I joined the pack because this is really a no-brainer. This is the same investment we've already made, and in addition, we're getting 2 new buildings that are going to provide a better education for our children, also provide places for our community, which is important too, because I know when I was the principal at Central, it was hard to, my gym was scheduled or nonstop. It was booked solid. And like George said, people were having to wait till 8 o'clock at night. You know, and I was even there and I let some of them in because there's just not enough facilities, and the new facility that's being designed is going to provide more space than the current annex has. And so, you know, to me, it's the same investment. We're not going to increase, it doesn't increase the taxes, and it doesn't increase the duration of the current bond that's in place. So to me, it was exciting to know that we can do this within what we're already paying, and then add greater facilities in our district and community. It's going to help our community as well.
Yeah.
Is it that that like 3D thing that's going around social media right now that has batting cages that drop down from the ceiling?
I'm going to say those are renderings, but yes, it is that. And I think
the
Political Action Committee put together, I'll just call it that design. But yeah, the design was always two high school size basketball courts, and then for us to have dividers that actually could make it into 4 elementary size basketball courts, so that you could have more elementary activities taking place. It's a sport court as well, so it could do volleyball, it could do wrestling, even if you put a mat on it. It could do
indoor
basketball, indoor soccer, all these. It could be an event center. It can have dances. It can have community events. It could have conferences and different things. And then it would have a drop down for batting cages or pitching for softball. So it allows for a lot of things to happen that are really great for kids, really great for our programs. Doddsy, I think you know this very well. We're pretty proud of our school district with our sports programs. We need to keep the machine rolling. We love the machine that we have. We have really great coaches. If you ever want to interview me sometime on the quality of our coaches, I would love to talk to you about that. You know, for 7 years, we've been a top 5 program. And I'm going to just say this, we have wonderful athletes, great kids, great parents, great community. But for you to have sustained greatness, typically you have to have pretty good coaches that are invested in kids, that do a lot of things to develop them, not just, you know, with their, I'll just call it their ball skills or foot skills or their hand-eye coordination, but also develop them into being great people. And, you know, that's one of the primary reasons that we have really great programs, is we have really great coaches. We have a lot to be proud of, but for us to keep the machine becoming a great machine, we got to have a lot of great events and indoor activities. And you know, for 4 or 5 months, it gets cold here.
Yeah.
And it's not fun to be outside, and we got to have places for people to do different things indoors to keep getting better at their sports.
Well,
even spring sports, the first month of baseball, you're inside.
Yeah.
It's just how
it is. By the way.
In the end, I spent countless hours in there. Trust me.
Yeah.
And still wearing gloves.
Yeah, right.
because it's still cold in there as well. But you know, and in addition, we also have thanks to the 2014 bond, we have a wonderful CTE building located at the high school, and more programs are existing within our high school and are provided for our high school students, which, you know, things, STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics programs are being offered for our students, and it's improving the education of our children. Well, this opportunity, by passing the bond, the new annex will also have an area for more STEM activities and programs within our middle school. So it's kind of like a stepping stone to prepare them for the high school. No different than our athletics, how it's very vital that we have elementary sports and junior high sports, because then that improves our high school sports where it matters. Well, it's the same with the academic piece and keeping our children up on the future and providing them, we have Lego robotics in the elementary schools and in the junior high. Now we can provide more science types of things for our kids, how to program computers, all those kind of things that's going to improve their future. And we improve the future of the children, we improve the future of our community. So we don't want to, we're really excited that this is a building that is going to support the values of our community. Education and athletics are two of probably the top 5. So anyhow, that's why I'm very excited about it.
Well, and all of that, I mean, again, it's kind of a talking about the facilities that we might gain and the facilities that we will replace. I mean, it's easy to understand why they need to replace. The thing I keep coming back to is what you said earlier, Suzy, is that this is really a no-brainer. I thought this was a no-brainer from the beginning. And, those schemes, and it's so funny. I heard this the other day where somebody will call you. And by the way, if anybody ever does this to you, it's a scam. Okay. The scam is they say, hey, they call you on the phone and they say, yeah, you've won $5 million, but all we need you to do is pay the taxes up front. Okay. And we need $50,000 to pay the taxes, and then we'll send you the $5 million. Well, that's a scam. But in this particular case, that really is kind of what's happening. I mean, this is not costing the public anything. And what we're getting is $4 million in a grant that is coming into this area. And I can't tell you how significant that is. I'm the president for Grande downtown Main Street. Over the last 5 years, there's been $400,000 that has come in from state money that's come in to help revitalize downtown buildings, and we just finished an application for someone who's applying for another $200,000 that maybe is going to come into our area and help restore a building. That is a huge win, clearly, for that person who's trying to restore the building, but it's a huge win for our community. Now the idea of $4 million, that's grant money. Yeah.
The one thing, Brent, and I want to keep just to be clear though, that grant we have won that grant, but if we do not pass the bond, then that grant money goes back to the state, right, for someone else or for another thing, but it goes back to the state. So that, just to be clear, the only way we will get the grant is with the passing bond.
Yeah, right. It's a very, very rare opportunity. This doesn't happen very often, where you can come up with an amount of money that's not going to increase taxes, that's not going to extend the life of the bond, and at the same time earn $4 million from a grant.
Right. It pays for about 45% of the projects.
Right. The state money does. So this, it's like the stars are all in alignment.
Imagine the 28 cents that we're saying is the gap from the $1.93 to the $1.65. It makes the 28 cents almost 56 cents.
Right. It doubles it, essentially.
Yeah. It does a lot.
Let me address a couple of these comments real fast. Bud, we're not going to jump down the marijuana sales rabbit hole today. But, I mean, we voted that out in this county. So, I mean, if it's something that you want to talk to somebody about, we can talk about that later. Dana Wright says, I commend George and the rest of the Political Action Committee for leveraging their money. Vote yes for schools and the community.
Thanks, Dana.
Yep. Well, this is good. I guess one question I did have, and you kind of alluded to it. Are you getting some pushback for people that they're just angry? They're angry about COVID. I mean, they're angry that you guys had to submit to the state requirements, and so then it's like, we were mad how that turned out, and we're not going to support this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely hear from folks that let me know they're angry, and then I let them know, like, for me, I'm sorry. I nobody, like, all I want to do is take care of our students and have our students in our schools. I was always in a place where I need to follow state rules and state laws and state regulations and listen to doctors from OHA or listen to lawyers from Oregon Department of Ed or listen to lawyers from Oregon School Boards Association or just follow state rules and regulations. We've always been a place that had to follow a communicable disease plan or emergency operations plan. And we're driven by safety guidelines and health regulations. So we've always had to do those things. But in the end, I have always felt bad about hurting anyone. And for a lot of times there was people that had strong opinions on not wearing a mask and people that had strong opinions on wearing a mask. And it's a very polarized time. And in the end, no matter what my personal opinion is or what my personal preference was, it's you have to carry out regulations, you have to carry out guidelines, you have to carry out basically requirements that our state had. And we would have had a lot of second order, third order problems if we didn't. And then really the safety or the state of Oregon would have been very involved and would have made us go back to things how they should be. So it might have felt good for a week or 2 weeks for us to do something, but in the end, we would have had a lot of scrutiny and created a lot of issues for us not to. But again, I just feel bad about those kinds of things. And I ask folks to kind of forgive us or to just focus on the future. To me, that's all I can really do. I tend to think about, like, if I got a problem with enrollment, I got to deal with that problem with enrollment. If I got a problem with the pandemic, I got to deal with that problem with that pandemic. If I got a problem with 2 100-year-old buildings, I got to deal with that problem with 2 100-year-old buildings. I can only deal with problems and keep going forward. I do not get the luxury too much of just like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to go back in time and I'm going to make this, something where we're just going to not have this problem anymore. I can only go forward with the problems that we have and do the best that I can to figure them out and work with people and come up with the best solutions possible based on the context, based on the situation, based on the finances. This is not the best time to ask for a bond because of public sentiment. So I know that. But we started working on this, like I said, in 2017. We were thinking about how are we going to replace this roof, and are we going to patch it, or are we going to fix it long term? And it became, well, this is kind of a long-term problem, so let's just patch it right now, and then let's start thinking about a long-term solution. And then when that bond refinance came available, that took about 80 to 100 hours worth of time from our school district to do a refinance to get these things to happen. And then after that refinance passed, it became, well, let's look at how to get a grant. How do we get this awesome grant? What do we got to do? Let's do this facility study. Let's get these 30 folks and let's do 8 meetings and let's do all the things, do the facility condition index, get the big picture, take action. Hundreds of hours of work to do those kinds of things. These kinds of things were going on pre-COVID, during COVID, and all I can do still is move forward and try to make things better for our community and better for our kids and better for our future, because it's a problem. And it'll be, if we say no, that 98-year-old building 13 years from now will be 111 years old, and we'll still have to deal with it. That 111-year-old building will now be 124-year-old building, and we'll still have to deal with it, and we'll still have to pour money into it. And 13 years from now, even at a 3% inflation rate, will be a 39% increase in cost. And right now, inflation rates are going kind of sky high. So it's just kind of like, I can only keep moving forward with whatever is happening in our world, in our economy, in our lives. I'm trying to find solutions. I'm trying to be, thoughtful and helpful. My intentions are always to make things better. And that's where I'm at. But I definitely hear folks tell me they're not happy. And I wish I could make everything better for everyone. But I got to focus on our school district. I got to focus on our future, and I got to just move forward. That's where usually I'm at personally. And I believe that, our board is that way too. They care deeply. They care deeply about our children, about our staff, about our community. And they're looking for short-term and long-term solutions all the time. And that's where we've been.
Wow.
Well said, George.
Yeah, I don't, let me say something real fast, George. For one thing, I don't envy your position in the last 2 years at all. Like I would never want to be in your job, but God has a mysterious way of putting people with broad shoulders in positions when they have to carry a big load. And wow. I mean, it's just like your job over the last 2 years, it's not compensatable. Seriously, it's not. And I hope people understand that. Like, it doesn't matter if you're on one side or the other when it comes to COVID. This man's job has been like, I mean, just the weight of the world on you for 2 years.
You've been in the middle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most certainly has. And anyone who works in the school district, George has the greatest weight. There's no doubt there. But everyone that's working in the school district has these last 2 years has really taken a toll. And the best part of it is that they have persevered. They have never given up. And this district, the staff, very, very few. George would probably know the percentage. I don't know what that is, left the district. And compared to many other districts, and that's because the staff here love their community and love the students, and their friends and their family are all here, and they went to the battlefield and battled for their families and their children, and everyone did. And that's why we came up. We help out the schools and the teachers I adopted a school, others adopted staff, and to take care of them every month, to lift them up and help them get through this. And now this is another way to pay forward, I guess you could say, to help everyone, not all the staff, all the children, and our community by providing these new facilities. And the only way to do that is to vote yes on Bond 31-105.
Dang, she's a straight up politician. Suzy, are you thinking of a new career, maybe?
I'm kind of in this, like, somehow she ties things in. She goes right back to it. She just back. I just love how you loop it in.
Finding this rather fun, actually. Maybe it's because it's St. Patty's Day, and I always look at St. Patty's Day as a day to focus on hope. That's how I look at St. Patty's Day. You know, Valentine's Day is love, and a past principal always has an outfit for every holiday, and Christmas is a time of giving, Thanksgiving a time of having thanks, and I look at St. Patrick's Day as of hope and to dream and to move forward with those dreams and never give up. And so that's why I serve on. It's actually the Citizens for School Renovations Committee, and the PAC committee is our title. So I'm excited to serve on this committee because it's something that's really important for our future.
Doddsy, would you do me a big favor when you get a chance, whether you or Brent, but that website for the Political Action Committee is a great website. And I think that has the videos that you were describing. They have some really cool videos. And our school district definitely has a bond page with our own videos. And so if you go to Grande School District, right on the front of it, there's a bond website. Just click on the link, and lots of information, lots of frequently asked questions, lots of the beginning, middle, and end of what took place. And I believe that the Citizens for School Renovations has a nice one, but they have a little bit more video content. They have some really cool informational videos too that I'll just say that I think are worthy of folks exploring.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. I'll put the bond information page up right now, and then I'll get the other one posted into the comments when we're done.
Thank you.
Good. So just to kind of summarize and make sure that people understand, their taxes are not going to go up because, and I won't go into all the details, but the bottom line is the taxes are going to stay the same because there was a savings that was realized from refinancing. That money is matched with a $4 million grant that is coming in, and that money is going to be used to finance and replace two very over 100-year-old buildings. And the benefits from an athletic standpoint or from an educational standpoint are, you know, again, that's a no-brainer. And so their taxes are not going up. It's being matched with $4 million, and we get new school buildings out of that. And I mean, it's that simple. When people, and when you present, when you talk to people and you explain that to them, are there some people that are like getting it, like, oh,
no, yeah, almost like just like this meeting. I mean, I'm going to just say, maybe they don't tell me that they're not happy, but usually at the end, it's like, I understand, it is a no-brainer, or I understand, this was well done. This was something that really has been thoughtful or insightful for how you guys have gone about doing it. Very creative, very well planned. Typically, it's this was, you know, something we should do. Now I can support this, or now I can talk to other people about this, and I can better explain it to them. And I get told a lot of times, you need to go and explain more often to people, or you need to have, and we're trying.
Yeah.
That's why we're, you know, but that usually it's okay. Now I understand this better, and I see the benefit. So that's usually what I get out of these interactions.
Somebody was like a half a second ahead of me on the comment. I know who that is. Too.
Yeah, I think that's Emily.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like a half a second faster than me. She got it up there quick.
Yeah, so that information is there. People can always ask you questions. They can always get a hold of you and talk about this.
Yeah,
really
if you
appreciate
go to those links. My phone number is on the links as well, and the community's welcome as my personal cell phone number, and you're welcome to give me a call at any time.
Yeah, but you forgot, and that's why you should vote yes on. You didn't.
Right. Hey, and then for people that aren't watching on Facebook, you can go to the Facebook page and click on the link, or you can just type that into your web browser.
Yeah, or if you do a search for LeGrande School District, you'll get to their web page, and right at the very top it says bond information, or it takes you to that page. So, yeah. Well, thank you guys for doing this, and George, thank you for being in the middle. I've defended you to folks who might not understand, you know, and help people understand that, you know, we are. You're a good dude. I'm really glad that you're a friend, and I'm glad that you're in our community. I think the school board just renewed your contract, which is good news. Yes. So, yeah. And I think that, I mean, every time I have any kind of a conversation with you, it always loops back to kids. That's what you care about. Is like, you know, what are we doing to provide for the kids? What are we doing for them? So
absolutely. Thank you for having us, Brent. Really appreciate it. It was great hanging out with Kyle today. It's like I taught Kyle a long time ago. No, he was a blast. And he was a big character then, as he is now, and that's perfect in my eyes. So anyhow, that's why I care so much about, you know, my community. I've been here 44 years. I raised my children here, and now my grandchildren go to school here. And I can't think of a better way to start my day out, hanging out with people I care about, and encourage them to vote for the bond levy so our community can continue to progress forward. Nice. So thank you so much.
Suzy, I have a dad joke, St. Patrick's Day joke for you. I always do a dad joke every day. Okay. What do you call a fake Irish diamond?
Okay, humor me.
A shamrock.
A shamrock? Oh, brother.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. Doddsy. And I learned your new name today. So I learned something today too. I didn't know that.
That's been my nickname since I was like 12 years old. You know who gave me that nickname?
Who?
Mike Mallory when I was 12 years old playing baseball. Yeah.
That's funny.
I have like posts like when Facebook very first came out of Jake Tolan sending me a message like, Doddsy, how are you? Like, people are like, no, yeah, that name's been with me for a long time.
I'm sorry, I'm missing out on that.
My son goes by it now too. It's kind of cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for jumping in with us this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Brent. Thanks, Doddsy. Bye, Suzy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, let me get them out of here. On this day, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 432. So the year 432. St. Patrick, aged about 16 is what they say, is captured by Irish pirates from his home in Great Britain and taken as a slave to Ireland. So this is the traditional date. On this day in 1756, St. Patrick's Day is first celebrated in New York City at the Crown and Thistle Tavern. 1756. That's before we were even, you know, 17. It's crazy. 1762, the first parade for St. Patrick's Day in New York City. Now I'm moving away from St. Patrick's Day because I'm bored with it. 1845. 1845, the rubber band was patented on this day by Stephen Perry in London, and not like a combination of Aerosmith, Steven Tyler, and Joe Perry. Stephen Perry. Yeah. 1987, IBM releases the PC-DOS version 3.3. 1987. BC, I'll bet you are all over that. You were probably like a kid in the candy store.
3.3. Yep. All right.
I didn't even know what a computer was in 1987.
87.
I was 8. I still lived in California. I didn't know what a computer was. No way.
Yeah.
Never even thought of it. Anyways, okay, so let's get to the number one song on this day. And I went with 2012 because all of them were repeats, which is kind of unfortunate. But the number one song in 2012 on this day is Fun. We Are Young. You know that song. Of course you do. And then the quote for the day. Man, I have to dodge my camera. May your troubles be less and your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness come through your door. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Good stuff.
See you Tuesday.
Thanks, Eastern Oregon.